welcome back to my channel. My name is Alondra Elizabeth. Here we go, the tea y'all have been waiting for. Today's video is going to be my 2L recap and just talk about how it went, how it felt, what I did that I think worked, what didn't work, all that good stuff. So let's just jump right to it. One thing that I will say about this year that I think I mentioned a few times on my Instagram, and the reason why I had such a long absence on YouTube for a bit, although the absence from YouTube partly had to do because I was a little tired of like making daily videos for Vlogmas. That was definitely it. But something that was told to me a lot as part of like the advice coming into law school was that, you know, life happens. Life doesn't pause for school, and law school doesn't pause for life either. And so you kind of have to, you know, life will throw you punches and you have to have to roll with them, and still kind of balance law school. So two like major things that sort of I felt like threw me off this year was when I did end up getting COVID my first semester this year, and it was not serious, like in the sense that I was still like fine, thankfully. I did have the symptoms and everything, but our school's protocol, which like is a great protocol, obviously, I can't be on campus for those 14 days, and so that definitely felt like it threw me off because although classes were because I had COVID, I was allowed to do classes on Zoom. The first few days, like I was definitely out. Like didn't matter if I was allowed to take Zoom classes. I was not paying attention. I was definitely like in bed those first 4 days of COVID. So I wasn't studying. I wasn't doing anything besides like barely eating and like drinking liquids and sleeping, you know? So I do feel like that I felt behind. That happened like kind of right in the middle to end of the semester, so it made it so that I was missing kind of key moments of like a review and having to start spending more time preparing for finals and things like that. So although it was still away from finals, it was still too close for finals for comfort. And obviously that doing COVID was something out of my control, but it was something that made me kind of have to like figure out like what am I doing, you know? And the second thing was that this second semester of my second year, my grandfather passed away on my mom's side. And so I did make the decision to travel to Mexico to be with family. And I definitely do not regret it, but I was gone for a week. And so those classes, I relied on my friends for notes and stuff and didn't attend those classes and didn't even touch my books or anything during that week. I was just like with family, and it was good. Like again, I do not regret it. But again, it's just something that happened like this was time I had like fourth week, so it wasn't too late. But coming back and just kind of sort of getting back into the hang of it and everything was harder than I thought it would be. I didn't just like snap back. So it was again like a learning curve and something that I was kind of doing. And then as the second year, like as y'all saw in my previous video, curriculars happen. They are a thing, and I was involved in kind of a lot of them this year. So it was also just transitioning into time management skills. And like I've always said, I have good time management skills, and I do think that's true. But given with like those two things that were like kind of extra things that wasn't something I was expecting, and all the time that I was spending on these extracurriculars, when it came to classes, it was rough to kind of find that balance between like my personal life, like my social life at school, and like classes and studying and writing. One of the things the first semester of this year that I didn't do was that I hardly wrote. And so when finals came, I was kind of like, shoot, like I did this myself. This is so hard. This last semester final season, like I at this point, like I had given up already on like ideals situations. It's like let it go and then just deal with what you have. And so I was studying like kind of last minute, but like I had no notions of trying to study earlier than the time I had left. So mentally, that made it better because I wasn't stressing about like, it's not, I'm not following my perfect schedule. It was like, you know what, it is what it is. Let's just get it together and let's make it happen with the tools that we have. So, but one of the things I told Elisa was like, at the end of last semester was like, slap me if I don't write as much during second semester of our second year, because I regret not doing that during the fall semester of this year. So keep me accountable, right? And I did write a lot more during the year, as like much as I could. So I guess that helped. That's something to think about. In regards to classes, I took Constitutional Law 1 and 2, so it's a year-long class. Property 1 and 2, year-long class. Wills and Trust this spring semester. Professional Responsibility fall semester. Immigration Law this spring semester, and Asylum US, a U.S. Asylum seminar. Classes were like pretty wide ranging, sort of like what I was interested in and stuff like that, and like what were requirements. And I would not recommend taking property and wills and trusts together because they are too similar as you're learning them. Like obviously when it comes to the final and like the concepts, they are different. Obviously they're different classes, but I would recommend, if that's a choice that you have, try not to take wills and trusts and property at the same time because it was a little hard to distinguish as I was learning. Come the final, wills and trusts was easier. I don't want to talk about property, but yeah, just that's an FYI. And also I think one of the biggest lessons is just like truly like just let it go. That was something that I had to like kind of tell myself over and over again. Like, it's not going to be perfect. Like, days aren't perfect. The semester isn't perfect. Law school isn't going to be a perfect journey. So it's just like, let it go and do what you can with the time and the tools that you have in that moment. Which is kind of crazy, but I've always like said, I was like, oh, live in the moment. So do that with school too. Live in the moment. Obviously, planning is always going to be like something that takes priority, but always something that you're going to have to do, and you're going to do it. Obviously, like, and at least somebody who's in law school, I don't think people never plan anything. Like, that's not what I'm saying here. But I'm saying like once you have those plans, and if life happens and things happen, like then just like take it as it is, one moment at a time, a week at a time, a day at a time. You know, like what can I do in this hour that I have, and like have your priority list of like what you need to get done, and then just knock them out. So that's like one of my biggest tips and things that I've learned. Overall, second year, like, is it easier? Does it actually get easier? Which is something people always ask. I think it comes with its own difficulties. But as a 1L, you're fresh. You're like literally being forced to like figure out how to law school, how to read differently, how to write differently, how to study differently. And it's all coming at you like at once. So it is hard. Like, that transition is rough. And as a second year, like, that's all stuff that you know, right? That you picked up your first year. And like at this point, you're just perfecting it, if anything. For me, I did like the way I did 1L year, like in regards to study habits. So I just like tried and failed to maintain the same study habits. But like that thing is like that in regards to studying, sure, I'll give it to you. It is easier. And more so than like first semester to second semester of first year. Like 1L year, they tell you it gets better like immediately. No, it does not. 1L year sucks. Like both semesters are freaking hard. And you're still obviously not great at studying from just one semester in law school, but from a whole year in law school to your second year of law school, like, yes, in regards to classes and studying, like, it does get easier because you're more knowledgeable, you're more aware of what you should be doing. But law school is just never easy. Like, I'm just never going to tell you law school is easy, because that is definitely not the case. There are other difficulties that come up, like the constant job search, and like apparently the sooner the deadlines get and everything, like it is like, you know, I started on campus recruitment in the summer of my 1L before this year, and like already gonna be starting for next year for post-grad job. Like we already had to fill out like the participation agreement and all that stuff. So law school is never easy. Like there's definitely lots of things happening, and like with the MPRE, with that exam, like, you know, something I did not know existed into coming to law school. Like that all has to happen now at some point. And an update, I did end up not passing the MPRE by 2 questions, which is so annoying, but understandable in a sense, because when I did go to Mexico, like I fell behind on practicing multiple choice questions, and I did do more. Obviously I still studied when I got back, but that did make me fall behind on my plans to study. And so when I took the MPRE, it felt like any other practice exams that I've been taking, and on the exams right before the MPRE, I was failing or passing on a 50-50 chance based on 1 or 2 point differences. So and you can cancel the MPRE exam, but you only get like $75 refund, and it's like $150 exam or something like that. So like, because I was like passing on a 50% chance, I'm like, okay, I already paid for this exam, I'm already signed up for this exam, there's a 50-50 chance I'm gonna go ahead and pass this first time, so whatever, I'll just go and take it and do what I have to do. And unfortunately for me, it was a 50% and I didn't pass. So I'm very annoyed, but whatever, it is what it is. You take what you have and you just deal with it. Life will throw you punches. So I'm annoyed, but I'm not like terribly upset. So I'm gonna take it again during the summer. Obviously, life permitting, nothing crazy happens, and I can actually stick to practicing more multiple choice and pass it this time, because I'm not interested in having to retake it a 3rd time. So that's an update on that. But like, you know, all these things that have to happen, and like you do them in your 2nd year, and there's also like a writing requirement, and some people wait until the 3rd year to do it, but I did it in my 2nd year. So it's just like, everything is just like, it's a balance, it's a mess. Like you kind of have to be on top of it on your own, and hopefully your school like has a good like admissions team, and like not admissions team, but like administration team, I guess. You know, like I had a meeting with like the deans, like for help with my scheduling and just making sure that I was ready for graduation, like with all this work that I've been doing, like pro bono, and like certificates that you can get and stuff like that. Like being aware, and just like truly, if there's one thing I can stress, it's like, don't be afraid to ask questions. I've mentioned this in regards to like work tips for like working in an office and stuff, but like just in law school and in life, I feel, although I suck at the life part, like ask questions. Like don't feel like you can't ask people for help, because like as a 1st generation student, like there are clearly going to be like a myriad of things that you have no idea, and I have no idea how to do. So it's all about asking questions and figuring out like, when do I do XYZ, how do I do XYZ, etc. And yeah, and just like really just put that effort in, because nobody's gonna put the effort in for you. And another thing that I would want to say is that if you're like an incoming law student watching this video, like I've said this in other videos, but figure out why you want to come to law school 100%, because there are going to be hard days. Like I've had hard days this year. For the first time in my life, there was a moment, I don't even remember what semester it was, where I was just kind of like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I here? Why am I like making myself suffer by going through law school? Like I've never once in my life questioned like wanting to be a lawyer, wanting to come to law school, choosing this career, and wanting to do this with my life. Like never. And I've been wanting to do this since like high school, middle school vibes. And one day I was just straight up like, what if I just like go home? What if I just pack my bags, move back in with my parents, and give up on this? Like, and that was kind of a scary thought, like, because again, it's never been something I've questioned. And what kind of got me through that was just kind of reminding myself, like, well, yeah, why did I choose to do this? And it's because, you know, I want to be an immigration attorney. I want to help the community. I've seen and worked alongside the community various times at this point now in my career and in my life. And it's like, it's not something I'm walking away from. It's like why I'm here, right? The reason. And kind of like reconnecting myself to that, like, reinvigorated me and like took me out of that little moment of darkness and uncertainty. And like, it happens, like that will happen. Like I feel like I've talked to a lot of people, and it's just like, yeah, it's hard because it's a lot of pressure on one person, and like, and a lot of it is also like self-placed pressure. So it is hard. And like, I'm never gonna be one person to say that you can't do this, because I 100% believe that anybody can be an attorney. Like, anyone can pursue this career. It just takes effort. It takes like drive and like just the constant like grind to get to that field, especially first gen, like minorities. Like, it is rough out here. I'm never gonna sugarcoat that, but there is like amazing stuff too, and it's so worth it. Like, being able to help people, have clients, like even learning about the law sometimes is just so powerful, because you're just like, wow, that's why like things have been a certain way, or like that's how we can react in XYZ scenarios. And like, that's something that I can like now tell my peers and like spread the knowledge of, right? So it is very powerful. Like, 100% like believe in like what I'm learning and everything, and like knowing that like it's something that nobody in my family knows. I'm one of the first few to be out here doing this. So it is hard, but it's worth it. I do believe that. And like, surrounding yourself with people who can help you out with like the moments when it's hard, when like you need to be reminded why, like friends from home or friends in law school, like finding a solid group of like supporters, is so important. And like, I've definitely found my besties in law school, and it's hard, but it's been great. Like, I'm not like, you know, this year was hard. It was hard personally, and the classes, they were definitely not like easy necessarily, but it was fun. Professors are great if you make the connection and you put the effort to like listen, like, you know, them and stuff. Like, it's amazing. So yeah, I guess lessons, life will come at you. Like, don't let that like derail you, you know. Work through it in the moment, deal with what you have, the time and the tools. Surround yourself by supportive people. Don't get lost, basically. I think in the sauce, you know, like, there are hard moments, but there are also great moments. And at the end of the day, like, this is a career worth pursuing, and like, the world would literally be a better place just to have more of us out there doing whatever field we're choosing to do, but just like diversifying and like learning our rights, and just, I don't know, just being out there as individuals with our own interest with this degree and stuff. So yeah, this year was a toughie. I am proud to be done. Finally, I haven't had much of a summer. I literally finished my last exam, and then like have been packing and stuff because I'm moving closer to the school. And then also I'm going to be starting 2 different roles on May 22nd, which is a week from now. So I'm kind of getting ready for that. Also, like today I had like a public interest celebration day with my pro bono stuff. I have another dinner happening later this week. And so it's just like, yeah, I'm not going home this summer until literally August for my birthday, right before coming back to school. So it's gonna be a San Francisco summer, truly. But I will try obviously to have a great time, because it's still summer and I deserve a break. So I'm gonna be vlogging that for sure. My mom is coming next week to help me pack and things like that. So I'll probably be vlogging then too, and see what we get up to. Yeah, I hope this was helpful in some way, some insight into my brain about how this year went. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, comments, etc. And thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.